Munhall residents, good morning. I speak to you today on several matters. My last video was just shot several days ago. I'm going to be speaking from now until the election on matters of the borough. And there's a lot going on that the people need to know about. Last week, or a week and a half or so ago, council voted at 10 o'clock at night to move from our borough building to the Willis Center. I want to speak about some things about that. And more specifically, I want to tell you why I'm doing this to start with. When I ran for council, our borough, and when I was sworn in, was broke. We had just about a negative balance. Councilmen who are on council today were there. They did not lead us. They did not tell us what was going on. We need transparency in our government. We need the truth to come out on things. And we need the people to know what's going on. So I'm going to be making these videos for the next 6 weeks, 5 weeks, till the election. First off, I am not in favor of a $15 million renovation of our borough building. Our borough building needs renovations, and our architect that was chosen by Munhall Council, TKA Architects, gave a proposal of redoing the entire borough building. And we listened to that rendition of what he wants to do, and council chose not to do that, which I'm glad they did not. But there was no discussion on second looks at our borough building. A $15 million renovation is out of the question. We can't afford that, and we can't afford to move into the Willis Center. They say it's $4 or $5 million, I believe, and that's not fully renovating the Willis Center. So I made a promise to myself as mayor and as a councilman that I would try to speak for the people, and I'm elected by the people as the mayor. And I'm trying to shed light on where we're at and what we need to do. So I made a promise to myself to do this, and that's why I'm making this video today. And further, I'll be announcing a couple other things that we'll be doing in the future. Past practices can't happen again. We can't let the people not know what our council is intending to do. A mayor needs to speak out. A mayor needs to be the leader. The mayor needs to look forward to the future and speak what the people want. And if the people don't want, if the people want to move into the Willis Center, so be it. But everyone that I've spoken to in the last 2 months is not in favor of moving into the Willis Center. We need to take a step back here and look at the plans. Take some of the plans that are involved in the TKA's rendition. They were the only architect that we talked to. They were hired immediately. We should have interviewed other architects, taken other ideas, and moved forward. We did not do that. This council voted to do that. The rendition that they gave us for the municipal building, I asked Mr. Stein and other councilmen, have you seen these plans before? Several of them, Mr. Stein in particular said no. This was the first time he had seen that. So in our rendition presentation, he decided that we're going to go and move out of our borough building because it's $15 million and move into the Willis Center, which is the total number there is not for sure yet. I don't know what that total number is. There's too many things that were not put in the final bids or the final presentation for that. So the most cost-effective, the most expensive cost that our borough is going to expend in probably the last 50 years, they made their mind up in 20 minutes or an hour of the presentation from TKA. So I question that. I wonder why. Why are we moving out of our borough building first? And why did they accept the Willis Center, period, before they knew all the expenses that it would take? There's a lot of questions what's going on here in my part. So, moving forward, we don't have much recourse. Council, they have the position of council. They vote and they can do basically what they want to do. And they're not including the people. They're not including the public. They're not even including me a lot. I was brought in, I was made aware that TKA was going to come the day before. So I question this. And speaking with TKA architects several weeks ago, I met with them. He made a rough estimate of $8 or $9 million. So that estimate climbed to $15 million. I question that. I question a lot. And furthermore, I think that the borough building does not need to be done the way they plan to do it. We don't need to excavate the basement of the borough building and make it all one level. I think that we need to look at what we can do and afford before we move out of our borough building into the Willis Center. Furthermore, the architect even said that Forest Hills built a brand new building for $4 million. If that's the case, we should be looking at plans as well to build a brand new building versus going into the Willis Center, moving into a bad spot. It's not a great location. Homestead Hospital is there. It's right next door to there. There's vacant property still there. You know, it's not a great spot to move into. After looking at it, which I did look at it and walk through it, I've not been for it. So I answer Mr. Ingles' questions again, which he always says to me, well, you wanted all the buildings. I did want to look at all the buildings, and I did look at the Willis Center. After looking at the Willis Center, that's not an ideal place for a municipal building. Munhall Borough Building was built as a municipal building for the people, by the people. We need the same. If we're going to move forward and we're going to go into a new building, we certainly should be looking at the prospects of building our own building, a new building, if that's needed. But I certainly know the people want us to keep our municipal building. So we have no real recourse. I spoke with people. People were at the meeting. They weren't happy how this vote happened. It happened at 10 o'clock at night. At the end of the meeting, Mr. Ingles said, let's vote on this. This was all pre-planned, I believe, because how can you make an informed vote on something that you've just heard and don't know all the details? No numbers were given us. No costs were given to us to look at. What's the cost of this? What's the cost of that? This should have been all taken care of in an executive session meeting first, with council, with the mayor, with the people of the borough, you know, and talked about. There was no discussion. There was no discussion after the presentation. I'm just repeating myself, which I don't want to do. By the way, moving to the Willis Center does not take in effect the fire hall. So I question what's going to happen with our borough building. We're going to keep our fire hall there. Are there discussions that I don't know about the fire hall? We planning to build a new fire hall? Are we merging with another fire company? You know, these should all be publicly spoken. This is all stuff that the public should be in on. These shouldn't be private little discussions. So I don't know. I've not been informed. No one's spoken the word to me about the fire hall. As far as I know, the fire hall is going to stay in the borough building, and then so we need to maintain the borough building too. So this does not make sense at all. So that brings me to the last meeting. Was handled very wrongly, I felt, and so did the residents. Rini Fry, a resident of Munhall, who has been at 95% of the meetings of the last year, and is vocal. She speaks, she asks questions, she's involved in our town. She decided on her own to run for council. She is running for Munhall Council as a write-in candidate. I realize that it's a hard process to do. I am going to support her because she has integrity. One of her main points is transparency. Transparency is so important so that people know what the council is doing. She's all in favor of transparency. She's an honest person. She's involved. in our town. I salute her for stepping up to the plate and doing this. I'm going to support her every which way I can and any which way I can in a quest for her to gain a council seat. So at this November election, Kevin Ondo, Mark Fallon, Maureen Fry, those are the 3 candidates I'm pushing for. We need to have more transparency on our council, and that's the main reason why I'm pushing for her and the other 2 council candidates. That's what they stand for, transparency. Not 10 o'clock at night, last thing before they agenda the meeting, they make a vote on it. That's not proper. That's not transparency. That's not letting the people know. So I'm moving forward. I'm having a town hall meeting. The town hall meeting is going to be October 15th at the Carnegie Library, and it's going to start at 6:30. I'm going to talk about, obviously, the borough building, what our objectives are, what we can do. I'm going to bring the drawings that we have and show the people what they have. Munhall Council should have done this. I'm doing it. I'm going to have a talk about the rezoning of 9th Avenue, 10th Avenue, and that general area down in Munhall, down by the library. The meeting will be at the library. I invite the residents from that area, as well as I invite the residents from all the town to come. Please come. Secondly and lastly, the cemetery is, as you can see, is really coming up to being presentable. Now moving forward, the cemetery board has gotten its IRS numbers, so they are now back in legitimate status of being a 501c3, I believe it is. I'm not sure the exact number, but we will be working in the future to rebuild the cemetery. I wanted that statement to be brought out, and I'm going to speak about that at the town hall meeting as well. And if there's any questions that people want to ask at the town hall meeting, please come. If I can answer them, I will. I invite everyone in the town to come October 15th at 6:30. Thank you very much. Bye.